Ah. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Starting up the chat, starting up the everything. And I think that we're restarting a lot of things. So, good morning, Randy Chang. How are you? Hope you're doing good. So, just to kind of go over, I know that I ended stream yesterday a little bit weird. But I think you guys have probably noticed, and I've obviously noticed because I'm part of this community. Yeah, yeah. Calling Pisco an anti-Semite is fucking dumb as shit, Jen Winkler. Just being straight up, okay? And we'll go over the schism. We'll go over the schism before we get started, and we'll take our time. We'll literally do whatever the hell we want to do today because apparently it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've tried to be tactful. I've tried to be polite. I've tried to be whatever, and the things that I didn't want to happen happened anyways. So let's just uh, let's just map it out. Why don't we? Let's just map it out. Live chat, react, zoom in. All right, here we go. Here's the cog. The community of grill hottists. And I'm going to go grab the mind map of what we're supposed to be. This is going to be more of like a aligning the community visually, and I don't even know what you would call it, like a clarification of vision. So I'm not going to be really worried too much about metrics or donos or whatever. I think it's time that we all get on the same page because I feel like a series of half measures have resulted in the thing that I didn't want to happen just to happen slowly, which was silly. Give me a second. Here we go. All right. Let me copy this. Let me paste it down here. All right. This is what I wanted the cog to be. Okay. I wanted it to be a gathering space of Democrats and Republicans who thought that the far left had gone too far and the far right had gone too far. Okay. And quite clearly, we all agree, I think, regardless of whether or not you're DGG or COG or Hutch or whatever, we all agree that the right has gone too far. That's one of the things that we can agree on. One of the schisms that's happening on the left, yeah, maybe let a more, maybe let a few more pile people in. Well, considering I feel like the pile people are a part of the schism, and so that's actually, funnily enough, I think part of the problem. So this is the cog. Actually, hold on. Let me expand it so it's big so everybody can see it. A coalition of Democrats and Republicans, aka the Just Be Normal Party, aka the Grill Hotists. And I was saying that liberal social democrats, despite being quite far economically, he's saying let more people show up. All right, let me I guess I'll wait. You guys want me to wait a little bit? All right. Officer Nasty says, "Oh my God, hey guys, are we on a normal one today?" No. Tactful doesn't work. Being blunt is king. Apparently. An organizational chart, do that. True. Too many autists. Sure. Maybe let a few more people pile in. True. No. He means let people show up, not pile people. Okay, got it. Hearshot says you're in an industry with hyperpartisans. True, Hearshot. That's part of the reason why I think we're suffering. Jen Winkler says half measures availed us of nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Ha ha ha. I know the AA book by heart, quoting that. I don't know. The Alcoholics Anonymous book? What book are you talking about? That's interesting. Conserve says Domino remix. True. I should play the Domino remix. That should have been the first. That should have been the first one. Yeah, most pile people left. I'll pile you, conserve liberalism. I'm not autistic. I am pile people. Good morning, nerds and nerdettes. True. Okay. So, this is my vision of the cog. Okay. Is that it's a coalition. Well, hold on. All right. Should I restart? Should I start from the beginning? Okay. Good morning to the 24 coggers who are already here. I appreciate you being here. Please like the stream, share it with your friends, engage with chat, super chats if you got them, memberships if you got them. Over the past 6 months, we have undergone a transformation due to the schism with DGG. It's just true. Have I made any more enemies yet? Not yet. These are the same schism, okay? And what's happened is we've lost some key players. Christian Vlaris was obviously a day one supporter inside every single stream. We lost him. Patriarch was probably like a month 2, month 3 supporter. We lost him. Grassroots and Jen Winkler and all that kind of stuff, they're still around. They're still hanging out. They're still hanging out in chat. But they've expressed some discomfort with the presence of the snarkers and this, that, the other. There's still some, and then like amongst the old heads, I would say Solidus, Conserve Liberalism, and a few other players, they've taken one of two tacks. Either they've said, oh yeah, we don't give a shit about the snarkers, fuck them. We'll fight them when they talk shit, but besides that, we don't give a shit. Or they've said, yeah, actually, I don't like the snarkers either. I just don't think it's that big of a deal, right? So that's kind of where we're at. And realistically, if somebody wanted to name other key players, I think Exponential Entropy showed up a few weeks ago and he basically said, hey, sorry, I haven't been hanging out as much. I've been going through a lot of personal shit. There's some people who are like coggers or whatever, but they're going through personal shit. They don't have endless time to be spending every single day within the Twitch and YouTube political sphere, right? So life happens, and I don't begrudge anybody for life happening. As a matter of fact, even amongst the true cog, even amongst the players that I've met, Patriarch is in a fucking war zone. Khazra is in a war zone. We lost Khazra for 2 months because he's in a war zone. And what's the other thing? Christian Laris, he went through like a job transition. Like life has happened to a lot of us. Grassroots, Hobbs got cancer, one of his favorite dogs. So like, life happens. So that's not what I'm talking about. If life happens, you're hanging out in the community, you're having a good time, you're throwing elbows, you're talking shit, whatever, and then you dip out. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the community development over the past few months in reference to DGG. And then we're talking about like what has happened, in my opinion, dramatically, but also where I want to go as a community. Okay. So this was and is the vision of the community, in my opinion. The right wing has gone too far. The Trump administration, January 6, 2021, the mismanagement of COVID, the Trump cult, the Iran war, the tariff regime, the violations of 4th, 5th, and 8th Amendments against during the mass deportation operations, killing random citizens when they fucking get into the beef with ICE officials. This is where the right has gone too far. Okay. Now the left hasn't gone too far yet, but they're making a lot of noise and rabble And the current conversation within the left is effectively about the left going too far. Okay? It's about the Democratic Socialists of America making inroads into the Democratic Party. It's about 30% of Democrats identifying as Democratic Socialists. It's about Zoran Mamdani taking over New York. It's about Chevalier becoming a congressperson. It's about Abdul Al-Sayed potentially becoming a senator. It's about, the leftists, the Hassan Piker crew, the people who care to hang out with Hassan Piker, who is basically somebody who endorses terrorism. They're gaining political momentum. In my opinion, this would be like the dissident right starting to seize power within the Democratic Party. And that's alarming. All I'm trying to do is I'm trying to establish the game plan right now, but then we'll get into the drama. And bear in mind, I am just articulating this like off rip. I don't have an outline. But please endure with me if you consider yourself true cog. Okay? So, I wanted to create, because the far left can go too far, and we know the far right has gone too far, that there is a need for a more center-right, center-left coalition of people who can work together for the improvement of the country. And so what I would say is that Lockheed liberals and sensible liberals are absolutely a part of this coalition. That sane progressives who want to implement sane policy are absolutely potentially part of the coalition, depending on how crazy they are. Never Trump and neoconservatives can be, depending on their desire to be a part of it. The contrarian right, in my opinion, is where my natural politics are. The right-wingers who are skeptical of progress, but at the same time, they enjoy complex ideas that might improve society. That's like my niche. And then MAGA, while there aren't a ton of MAGA that who are still in MAGA and still Trump sycophants who I actually enjoy speaking with, I'm hoping in the post-Trump era that there will be more MAGA people who are politically available in order to consider new ideas, who might stop being pieces of shit. Okay? So, this is the community and the space that I wanted to create. All right? And I think we did a pretty good job for a long time, especially like the OG cog. I feel like we did this. So let me go ahead and put this here. Now, to that effect, we had an alliance that made sense through the midterms and through 2024 with Destiny. And I would say that Destiny and the liberals contributed 70% of the community of the cog. They just did. Okay? So, let me go ahead and draw that because this is where the schism is. All right. Destiny, DGG, liberals. I would say like there's still crossover with Hutch. I wouldn't consider Pisco. I consider Pisco more progressive than that. And I think that's probably Destiny, DGG, and Hutch are probably my main community crossover. Now, with the contrarian right and the neocons, interestingly enough, despite our extreme beef with Sitch and Adam last year during the 24 elections, I would say a substantial amount of the contrarian right people came over from Sitch and Adam. So, let's go ahead and get that mapped. I think QC John might have been a Sitch and Adam fan. I think Grassroots Hegemon was a prominent Sitch and Adam community member. That's about it. Can I zoom in? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Then with MAGA, I wouldn't really say we have too many MAGA people. Maybe we have a few dissident right folks or whatever. But I would say that on occasion, we'll have Justin or Fatsimo drop in, all that kind of stuff. And I would say that does come from the dissident right. So that really does come from Fuentes. The few MAGA people, dissident right people, they come from Fuentes coverage, in my opinion. And then I would say from the progressives, it's primarily going to be Pisco. Our collaborations with Pisco. If there's anybody who's like a Pisco fan or they check out like a Pisco segment, it's going to be from Pisco. And then I would say the far leftists, it's going to be coming from like anti-Hassan coverage, right? Here we go. Okay. So the problem, in my opinion, is that Destiny slash DGG slash liberals, Lockheed liberals, we're about 70% of the community. Then I would say contrarian right slash conservatarians are about 20% of the community. And then I would say maybe 5% of the community are far leftists and progressives. And then I would say maybe another, realistically, it's like 2 people. So it's like 2 to 5%. But let's just go ahead and put it at 5% just for an even number. This is where it is. Okay. So the problem that we've had over the past 6 months, and here's what's interesting about it, in my opinion. I don't really have a problem with Destiny's politics. I actually don't. When we take a look at Destiny's coverage of certain events, when he's criticizing the electoral landscape, when he's looking at I don't know, geopolitical events or what America should do on the world stage or something like that, generally speaking, I don't have a problem with Destiny's politics. And as a matter of fact, I've enjoyed his debate content and his abrasiveness and his aggression for a really long time. But on the personal level, that is where we've gotten into beef. It's all personal shit. Okay? And this has caused problems with what I would call the pile people. All right? So, the pile people, give me a second. We do truly schism on sex. Okay? So, I think that sex is cool. I obviously had some premarital sex before I got married. I obviously had some sex while I was married. I had 2 children. I think that's an important part of the human experience. And then I've had a little bit of sex post-marriage. And it's quite clear to me that sex is like a social expression of human beings as adults. But I have consistently beefed with my own community of liberals because you guys, even if you don't have that extreme of personal lives in your real life, you want to defend the right to be sexually extreme. And it probably comes, let's be real, it probably comes from like some anti-homosexual, anti-LGBTQIA+++ trans bullshit. And so as a result, that's where that hostility comes from. It's like, don't tell me what to do because I grew up with conservatives criticizing my sex life, and don't criticize my gooning, basically. But I'm going to criticize your gooning some of the time. And we can have like friendly banter about gooning. And let's say, I don't know, let's do like a little thing right here. Let's do like the Lockheed liberals and whether or not they're gooners. So, I would say probably 2/3 of you guys are gooners, or at least like, I may not. I'm trying to redo the quote. What is it like? I may not like what you goon, but I defend to the death your right to goon it. That is some of you guys. I swear to God. And I am actually going to write down that quote because I do think that's funny. Gooners, non-gooners. Oh, and by the way, there are libertarian gooners too. Interestingly enough, I think on the conservatarian bend, it's like inverted, where there are still libertarian gooners, like aka Batu Sai, weirdly enough, he could articulate it if he wanted. But basically, he objected to the drama because I think that he was defending the right to goon, basically. So, anyways, there's goofy gooner shit, right? I don't know. You want to be polyamorous. You want to be a part of a polycule. You want to be, you want to do airplay or choke play or whatever the fuck you want to do. Go for it. Okay. But there is a problem here that we just disagree with. And I'm going to describe it from my perspective. Okay. I truly thought that Destiny was in so much trouble in February of 2025 that he would learn his lesson. Okay. I really thought that getting sued, losing 90% of your friends, taking like a 30% hit to your metrics, even your best friends being incapable of defending you, your best friends, I wasn't a best friend at the time. It was Erudite. It was Dan Saltman. Erudite and Dan Saltman taking a ton of shit. The Bridges podcast being imploded, the Pisco New York podcast being imploded, Dan Saltman getting fucking doxxed and harassed, his wife getting doxxed and harassed. I thought Steven was going to learn his lesson. I really did. And that was like naive and stupid of me to think that he was going to learn his lesson. But, you know, I did. I was like, holy shit, even like a fucking sociopath. And Dan Saltman said it, by the way. He was like, oh yeah, like, I'm going to trust that Steven is like a cat touching a stove. And so he's going to be done touching stoves, right? That's what I thought was going to happen. Yeah. Dan telling Pixie to sue him. Right. Dan Saltman, for those of you who don't remember the drama, Dan, when Pixie contacted him and was like, hey, Destiny super fucked me over. I know you know a bunch of lawyers. Do you like know somebody that you would recommend potentially to sue him? Dan was like on the verge of recommending lawyers to Pixie to sue Destiny. That's how bad Destiny had fucked up. So I truly thought that he was going to fucking learn. Like, call me naive, call me stupid, whatever. Okay? So then, in a rule that I have always had is don't jerk off to kids. Like, I hate to say it that bluntly. I know it's repulsive to people. I know people don't like hearing it. But I swear to God, the gooners hide behind your revulsion to hear words in order to not allow criticism of that behavior. Okay? They literally rely on your sense of decency not to criticize their sense of indecency. And so as a result, fuck them. Like I'm done playing their game of like, don't describe vile behavior because it's vile, even though they themselves participate in said bad behavior. Okay? So what I would say is, through the summer of 2025 or whatever, Steven and I became closer. We hung out in real life. We went shooting a couple of times. We communicated a few times in DMs. Not as much as like a real life friend. You know, he's a busy guy. He lives his life online. He has plenty of orbiters, all that kind of shit. But we communicated more than we used to, right? And so what ended up happening was I noticed that Food Shops had gotten into orbit. And Food Shops was now the #1 Destiny anti-snarker. Okay? She was the defender against J-Sadok, the defender against Queeman, the defender against, I mean, I guess that's really it, right? J-Stock, Queeman, and all their, like, snarkers, right? And so what happened was, I would say the goofy gooners and I had made an alliance within this, but I've always had a rule, which is don't JO to kids. That's always been a rule. It never was not a rule, okay? I called out Steven on using Food Shops as a weapon in private. I called him out on a podcast. I said, I think this is fucking stupid. I think you're using a really bad person as a shield. I truly thought it was like Machiavellian and fucking weird. I don't know why you would ever have an associate, a friend, a co-streamer, a pal, who jade off to kids. I truly do not understand this. And if you're like, yo, Connor, you're maligning food shops or whatever. Food shops, for those of you who don't know, Queen, her whole career, I can describe her career start to finish based off of my perception from Twitch and YouTube politics. She started off as a very small streamer, 10 people, 20 people, whatever. Okay? Then what happened was Queeman started A-logging her because he thought it was hilarious that there was a trans streamer who openly was a lolicon, who openly admitted to J-O-ing to kids. Because food shops did that back in the day. She, like, anybody would ask her, like, hey, do you J-O to cartoon drawings of kids? And she'd be like, yep, it's part of my personality. Can't stop it. It is what it is. Blah, blah, blah. That's what she would literally say. And then Resevere and a bunch of people who are now considered snarkers, they were friends with food shops, but then they said, hey, food shops, people are calling you a pedo. Why are they calling you a pedo? And then she's like, oh, it's because I J-O to kids. And they were like, what? And then they kind of burned the bridge with her back in the day. You can literally watch this content. She is a pedophile. She wants to fuck kids. Okay? It's truly bizarre to me that one of Steven's strongest defenders and somebody who is routinely accepted within the space is somebody who jacks off to kids. You guys can say, oh, don't kink shame. Oh, it's just silly gooning. Oh, nobody gets hurt. No, it's weird to me. It's weird. It's gross. I don't know why you guys defend it. I don't know why you're morally neutral to it. I was never morally neutral to it. It's fucking weird. Okay? It's gross. It's disgusting. I don't know why we pretend this is normal. It truly is bizarre to me. Okay? So that, in the summer of 2025, caused a little bit of a trepidation between Steven and I. Okay? This rule still held, but even when I brought up this to Steven on the podcast, he was like, oh, well, it's just drawings, and I don't really care about it this much, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, that's gross, that's weird. That sounds like you've done it in the past. You just don't want to cop to it because whatever, right? And I don't know if you guys remember this, but back when Vosh got into trouble, one of Steven's exact quotes were, wouldn't it be nice if you had a large streamer that could come and defend you on this stuff? That was like almost an exact quote. So yes, I've always found this gross. I've always found this weird. I've always found this off-putting. So anyways, I kind of make my peace with the fact that Food Shops is an orbiter. I think it's gross. I think it's weird, but I move on. And by the way, Food Shops said that there are dozens of messages of me complaining to Steven about Food Shops. Present them. I've probably complained about this maybe a maximum of a half dozen times. There are not dozens of times of me trying to torpedo Food Shop's career. She's fucking lying, or Steven's fucking lying. You are welcome to screenshot said conversations, and I guarantee you, not only will I stand by every single word that I've said, but it's actually only a handful of times because Steven's going to do what Steven's going to do, right? Steven's going to do what Steven's going to do. So like maybe 3 or 4 times I was like, I think it's fucking weird that you're raiding into Food Shops. I think it's weird that she's a part of the orbit. I think it's fucked up. I think it's cringe. Like truly J-O-ing to kids is gross. It's just that simple. Okay. So anyways, so, summer happens. It is what it is. We go shooting a couple of times. We hang out a couple of times. We talk a couple of times. It is what it is. We're relatively friendly, this, that, the other. In November, I get contacted by Devil, and Devil says, hey, Steven is communicating with my wife. We're on the rocks or whatever, but my wife sent him a bunch of pictures of our kids. They did like weird, sexy kid play, whatever. It's fucking gross. I hate it. I think he's a pedo. Fuck him. right? That happens in November. And he encourages me to call Brit. I call Brit. Brit tries to minimize it. She alludes to what's happening, but then she also tries to sanitize it as well. That's in November. But the truth is, I don't have the ability to make heads or tails of it. So I kind of tell Steven, like, hey, you're not being a goofy gooner anymore. Okay, this isn't cute. This isn't funny. This isn't like fun. It's not fun to be text messaging somebody else's wife. It's not fun for the husband to fucking hate you and want to murder you. It's not fun to allegedly be JOing to kids. And I want to be your friend, but you're making it really, really, really difficult to be your fucking friend. I say that in November in private DMs. And he's like, oh, they're lying. They're exaggerating. Don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. Blah, 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 blah. Right? So at that point, I feel like I've shot a cannon across the bow saying, this behavior isn't acceptable to me. And if you continue this behavior, I can't be your friend anymore. Okay. That's in November. Okay. So the anti-snarking campaign continues, and there is shit that's fucked up about it. Like, why does Doobie deserve to be doxxed besides hanging out in the fucking Snarker server? Why does J-Stock deserve to be doxxed? Why was Wicked Supreme doxxed? And by the way, you guys can make, anyone who's a critic of this scenario can make the excuses, oh, J-Stock has done a unilateral harassment digital campaign against Steven, and therefore he deserves what he gets, right? And I might even accept that to some degree. Oh, Queeman is a part of this nexus of people who hate Steven. You get what you get and you don't get upset. Okay, whatever. Like sure, they're all rolling in the mud. They're all pigs. The one thing that no one can answer my question on is, why did Wicked Supreme deserve to get doxxed? And the answer is, there's not a good reason for him to get doxxed. There just isn't. Okay? Matthew Talder says, why are we spiraling on this? I want to let this go. Hey, Matthew, this is the first time I've seen you in the past week. So whenever I see a gray name who says, let it go, I'm assuming that you're a DGG person who just wants to let sleeping dogs lie, even though there's fucked up shit going on right now. Okay? Right now, Steven is maligning Pisco's reputation on the internet, calling him a rabid anti-Semite akin to a Nazi. Okay? So if he's going to be out here throwing fucking elbows, then guess what? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I'll get into how my half measures have failed. Okay? My half measures have failed, and we're not doing half measures anymore. Matter of fact, I'm doing whatever the heck I want. Okay? I'm tired of listening to y'all. I'm tired of you guys, in my opinions, having terrible advice. I'm tired of slowly losing community members, even though I'm trying to placate their desires. I'm tired of it. So we're just going to do what we want to do. It is what it is. And if you like the content, stick around. And if you don't like the content, don't stick around. I don't care. All right. So anyways, in November, I give shots. I feel like I give a shot to Steven across the bow. In May, despite the COG allegedly having immaculate vibes, okay? We allegedly have immaculate vibes. We got Christian Valeris in chat. We got Patriarch in chat. We got Grassroots in chat. We got Jen Winkler in chat. We got, Solidus in chat, Conserve Liberalism in chat, Fell Runner in chat. Everybody's having a good time. The vibes are immaculate. Okay, up through May of this year. And so what ends up happening in May is Steven says, oh, well, anybody who has any associations with Doobie is, I'm thinking about cutting them off. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, fuck you, right? We've been friendly co-creators for the past 6 years. I've been friendly co-creators with Doobie for 6 years. You understand, this is the other thing that really pisses me off about this. Steven, Doobie, me, Prime Kai, Dylan Burns, Vosh, Shoe on Head, name half the people who were on the panel on Monday. Bam, Lactoid, that really, really, really nice guy that Prime always has on. I forget his name. Who's the guy who died? There was a 50-year-old debater who died. I forget his name. He's very, very, very nice. But anyways, the point is that this community of Twitch and YouTube political debates was based on having people that you had contention with. And to say, oh, you have people that I have contention with, you're cut off. It's a gayer version of the Fortress arc. It is lame. It is cringe. I fucking hate it. When Vosh went into his Fortress arc, I thought that was bitch made pussy shit. When Steven was doing this thing where he was saying ban Doobie or else I'm not associating with you, I thought that iCow Rich died. iCow Rich. Ooh, man. Yeah, iCow Rich. Rip to iCow Rich. Seriously. He was a part of the space too. All right? So anyways, part of the space is having contention. And by the way, I'll say this too. I think J-Stock's being a fucking pussy. Okay? Because J-Stock has all this beef, all this energy, all this rage, all this anger for Steven. Oh, he's such a piece of shit. Oh, he's a criminal. Oh, he deserves to be in jail. Oh, he's a predator. Oh, this, oh, that. And then when he has an opportunity to tell this to his fucking face, he's like, no, I don't want to hurt the people around me. Bro, you're already doing the same thing by making content about it for 2 fucking years. You're not making it any worse through a direct confrontation. So either have the direct confrontation or fucking don't. Okay? If you're not willing to have the direct confrontation, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Take your fucking moral complaints, stick them up your fucking ass. Okay? This is Twitch and YouTube politics. People should be able and willing to have conversations face to face. The second that you're saying like, oh, you know, I don't know. Like, I smell bitch on you. Okay? So, anyways. Where were we? May. Okay, so within 72 hours, I get hit with a shitload of information. I get hit with, via Mutin, let's be clear, and maybe Steven didn't mean what Mutin said, but Mutin fucking said what I thought was meant by it. Mutin said, if you associate with snarkers at all, we're going to cut you off. Okay? That's what Mutin said. And I was like, that is pussy shit. That is weak shit. That is bitch shit. That is Vosh Fortress arc shit. Fuck you. And that's the attitude that I had on Friday. That attitude obviously was quite negative between Steven and my conversation. And I did think that the bridge was burned on Friday. But that's all I knew on Friday. Friday night, rolling into Saturday, Britt contacts me and says, oh yeah, Steven and I are still talking. So at this point, it's like, you're being sued for sexual misconduct. You're being accused by a married man of JOing to his kids. His wife is clearly fucking insane. And you're still communicating with her 6 months later. You're a fucking dipshit. And it's only a matter of time before your sexual impropriety blows up, destroys your fucking political career again. People aren't willing to work with you again. You're radioactive again. Like, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. So regardless of me, regardless of the Twitch and YouTube political sphere, regardless of my criticisms, regardless of Mr. Girl, regardless of Lav, regardless of the snarkers, regardless of this, regardless of that, it's only a matter of time before Steven hurts himself. It really is. And so rolling into Saturday, that's the attitude that I had for Steven is, fuck you. You are stupid as shit. Not only are you fucking up your personal life, not only are you ignoring the people who actually care about you, but you are going to destroy everything that you fucking touch. Fuck you. All right. And that was Saturday. And then I think Saturday rolling into Sunday, I find out that not only did Devil say that Destiny was JOing to kids, but then Britt said that via an email to Mr. Girl that she thought was anonymous. And I'll go over proof versus evidence real quick because this is what pissed me off about fucking North. Okay? I went over it yesterday half-assed. I'll go over it full-assed today. Evidence and proof are not the same thing, right? If you find somebody's fingerprints at the scene of a crime, that is evidence, but that's not proof, okay? Maybe they live there. Maybe they're a friend. Maybe they were just walking by. Maybe they're the mailman. Fingerprints at the scene of a crime is not proof, but it is evidence. And there is evidence of Stephen having bad behavior in reference to this. Okay? And this whole thing about like, oh, only one person said it. No. 3 people said it. Oh, they all recanted. No, they didn't. No one fucking recanted. Devil said, oh, I have to worry about Child Protective Services. I have to worry about law enforcement investigating me and my Signal chat group. So I'm going to minimize what happened. And then Britt is still in love with Stephen. So she's obviously going to be a biased source towards Stephen. So her recanting doesn't mean shit. Not only that, the pictures that she posted supposedly of her kids that were completely normal that were sent to posted on the internet, those are not the pictures that Leilana was talking about, Stephen's ex-girlfriend. Lelena was saying not only were there pictures of the kids in bathing suits, there was also zoomed in pictures of the feet of the kids. So regardless of whether or not Stephen himself JO'd the kids, Britt is a fucking freak and deserves to be investigated by Child Protective Services. And fuck you if you think anything otherwise. Okay? So leave, right? This whole thing of like half measures of trying to placate the fucking gooner people because they're okay with jacking off the kids. I said it in the beginning of the drama. I said it in the middle of the drama. I said it at the end of the drama. Even if you enjoy my content, even if you're an oiler, even if you're a chipper, leave my community. Okay? I don't want you. If you think JOing to kids is okay or morally neutral or whatever, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want you to be an audience member. I don't want your fucking money. Okay? So, if I find out that according to 3 sources, Lelena, the ex-girlfriend who saw pictures of children and saw pictures of children's feet, Devil, the husband who is spurned, and Britt, the wife that is still in love with Destiny, that allegedly they were jerking off to kids and sending pictures of fucking kids, you're goddamn right I'm calling law enforcement. I stand by that 10 toes fucking down. Hassan Piker endorses terrorism. Fucking Destiny endorses food shops. I endorse calling law enforcement in that situation. And you want to know why? This is another thing that North gets completely fucking wrong and makes me think that he's a fucking idiot, okay? He's 22 years old. He's never worked a real goddamn job in his entire fucking life. If you have evidence, let's say that you find a fingerprint of somebody at a crime scene. Do you just go, oh, well, I can't prove that this person committed the crime of burglary. Oh, well, and that's the end of the investigation? Or do you run their information and see who they are? That's obviously how police investigations are fucking conducted. I literally spent 4 years of my life doing them. So when you get the feedback, oh, that's the local mailman. Oh, okay. It's the mailman. When you get the feedback, oh, that's a family friend. They're over at the house all the time. Oh, okay. That's the family friend. Oh, this is a guy who lives on the wrong side of town with 15 counts of fucking burglary. Okay? Oh shit, it's probably the burglar. But what that requires is not ignoring the evidence that's in front of your face. It involves following up on the evidence that's in front of your face. You fucking idiots. Like anybody who said, oh, well, this isn't, what would you call it? It's the threshold of conviction in a court of law. Proof. This isn't proof beyond a reasonable doubt that anything happened. No shit, this isn't a court of law, you fucking idiots. You absolute buffoons, you absolute fucking dipshits. But then at this point, even if Stephen is, let's say he's totally innocent. Okay, let's say Stephen was never interested in the pictures of the teenage kids. Let's say he was never interested in the pictures of the fucking kids. Maybe he did a little bit of babysitter role play, but Brittany totally made up from fucking whole cloth. She just made up the fact that they pretended to be step parents and molest each other's kids. Okay, that's what Britt said when she thought she was anonymous, but she sent in an email via a social media profile and then liked the stream with enough details that people were able to put the stories together. And she admitted that that was her after the fact and said, oh, I was exaggerating. Bullshit. I'm just going to tell you, rank bullshit. And if you can't smell bullshit on that story, I think you're a fucking dipshit. But anyways, so even if Steven was completely uninterested in the pictures of the kids, even if he was completely uninterested in the fucking the fucking feet pictures or whatever, that is still gross and fucked up and weird if he did role play scenarios with this woman involving each other's children. Okay? And that's what Britt said. Okay? Not just that, but we have prior Discord DMs where Steven says, "Oh, are you into age play?" to somebody else, completely unrelated. So when do I start adding up the totality of circumstances to say this probably happened? I'm not saying 100% it happened. I'm saying 80%, 90%, 95% it fucking happened. And yet, everyone else is fucking blind. They're just blind to it. They're just totally fucking blind to it. And I think they're willfully blind. Food Shops is a fucking pedophile. Food Shops is the #1 fucking sweeper for Destiny. He's hanging out with her. He said to my face, "I don't give a shit about jacking off the kids. Who cares?" Okay? Then we got Britt saying it happened. We got Devil saying it's happened. We got Leilena saying it happened. That's fucking enough for me. And by the way, this is enough for me to walk away no matter what. I know that I hang out with like liberals and libertarians and gooners and all that kind of shit. But as a conservative man, seeing a married woman whose marriage is on the rocks and then saying, "Yeah, we shouldn't sext," but then sexting anyways, at that point, fuck you, right? You're already in trouble for your sexual impropriety. You're already getting sued for your sexual impropriety. And you think the best way to conduct yourself is sexting a clearly mentally ill married woman? You're a fucking dipshit. You're dumb as fuck. You're fucking retarded. Okay. So anyways, my rule always has been don't JO to kids. And so as a result, on Thursday, I'm fucking ready. I'm ready to lay out the situation as I understand it. I don't care if DGG is mad. I don't care if my community is mad. I don't care if the gooners in my own community get mad. It is truly so morally beyond the pale that I would rather say what I think to be true and let the fucking chips fall where they may than, you know, continue on and basically, like, in my opinion, sweep. If I hadn't said anything on Thursday, I would have felt like I was part of the problem. If I hadn't said anything on Thursday, I would have felt like I was complicit. So instead, I laid out what I believed on Thursday. I took a lot of shit for it. And then, in the ensuing weeks, I gathered up my narrative. I reported it to my local law enforcement jurisdiction. They took it down to Miami PD. They transferred a report to the fucking FBI. As far as I know, nothing's happened. Okay? As far as I know. Miami, let's deal with it again. All the excuses that I made for Steven in February of 2025 are true right now. Okay? Fantasizing about JOing to kids is gross, but it's probably not illegal. And then sending pictures of kids that are not explicitly sexual, but could be used for a sexual purpose, proving that they were used for a sexual purpose is probably difficult. And then not just that, but proving that they were used for a sexual purpose if they're not explicitly sexual is probably difficult. And not just that, it's probably not a high priority. That's, you know, there are actual physical forcible rapists out there. There are date rapists out there. There are murderers out there. There are sexual assaulters out there. There are people who beat the shit out of their wives on a routine basis out there. And so this entire scenario, while potentially criminal, but not necessarily criminal, let's just be real. There's like a 70% chance that it just does not hit the threshold of actual law enforcement giving a shit. It's gross. It's potentially criminal, but it's not necessarily criminal, right? And even if it was criminal, it's not a high priority. There are plenty of worse people out there in the world than Steven, which is why even when Mr. Girl and Lav wanted to do like the post-Steven breakup conversation and they were like, yeah, do you want to describe him as a sexual predator now? I'm like, no. No, I don't. There are people infinitely fucking worse than Steven. And one of my faults in this drama has been trying to be fair and trying to call balls and strikes. Okay? It truly is. I would be better off if I was more bad faith. So anyways, that happens in May. And then this is where the schism in the community happens. Okay? The anti-Hassan people, let's be real, this is like, or the people who I've gotten from anti-Hassan coverage, let's be real, it's like Doobie, Officer Nasty, and maybe Miradol. These are the snarkers, okay? Doobie, Officer Nasty, and Miradol. And to my knowledge, Miradol is not a huge fan of the channel. They just drop by every now and then, talk some shit in chat, have some fun, you know, all that kind of shit, right? They're not like a huge part of the community. And no, actually the thrust of this is not about Destiny, although we will be doing some Destiny coverage today. The thrust of this is actually about the schism in the community. Okay? So, Doobie, Officer Nasty, and Miradol. And what I've been told by a few OG coggers is that having these people in the community is a detriment to the community. When they're in chat, when they're engaging in chat, when they're being rude, when they're being mean, when they're being shitty, etc., it ruins the vibes of the chat. And when Doobie is constantly super chatting or whatever, what ends up happening is he's detracting from the rest of the content, even if we're literally talking about Israel-Palestine. But he's detracting from the rest of the content because through his cash, he has an outsized influence on the stream. And I understand that. Like, maybe it fucks up the vibes compared to a year ago. But in my opinion, and I thought about this over the past 24 hours, this is Twitch and YouTube politics. Okay? This is Twitch and YouTube politics. Contention, even if it's ugly, is a natural part of the space. When I was a creator and I was going on the Prime Kai Reverie Roundtable, when I wasn't even streaming, I was just doing the content for the shits and gigs of it, I think I was telling Doobie to get sodomized with a fucking broom because I thought he was such a piece of shit. I told Demon Mama probably terms of service terms dozens of times. I've screamed at Pisco, Steven, everybody in the space I've screamed at. So if ugly contention is not a part of your media diet in Twitch and YouTube politics, good for you. But I also find that statement kind of laughable considering that Steven is such a dominant part of the space and a substantial amount of his historical content has been wildly contentious, right? Even today, the content that we're going to cover is fucking Steven calling Pisco an anti-Semite. Anti-Semite in some spaces is akin to calling someone a fucking pedophile. Like if you go to the ADL and you're hanging out and you're like, it's you, Pisco, and the ADL, and you're hanging out and you're like, oh yeah, Pisco over here, he's a fucking anti-Semite. Then they're going to view him as this like vile, manipulative, Machiavellian creature. And so to be blatantly broadcasting that to tens of thousands of people and also using systemic analysis in order to do so, that's fucking cringe, fucked up, lame, whatever words that you want to fucking use. Okay? Yeah. Well, QC John points out that I got banned for the way that I talked to Demon Mama. I'm not surprised. We probably had some wild debates about trans shit. I probably went crazy with it, and then I got banned. Right? So anyways. Now we're going to talk about half measures, and we're going to talk about specifics. Here we go. All right. All right. Hold up. So, in my opinion, if you are going to give a shit. Doobie could leave the community at any point. I could literally say, hey, Doobie, your presence is disruptive. Fuck you, leave. And he could leave. And honestly, like, you know, that would obviously negatively affect my finances, but I don't think it would necessarily have like a huge impact on the stream. Truth be told, I'm pretty sure if Doobie left, the people who are complaining would find something new to complain about. Okay? Then, with Pisco overlap, it's only a few percentage points. We just debate each other every now and then. No big deal. Truth be told, I haven't heard a lot from the Pisco affiliates, because the Pisco affiliates, I think that they are okay with Doobie, Officer Nasty, and Miradol being anti-Destiny and anti-Israel. And they like the Israel-Palestine conversations, kind of considering more the pro-Palestinian topics, right? And so as a result, I haven't heard very much complaints from the Pisco crew. I just haven't. Okay. And then what I would say is that in my opinion, okay, in my opinion, we have lost, unfortunately, key players from the Gooners, the left-wing liberal Gooners. Okay. And it's because, in my opinion, you can criticize, as a matter of fact, I'll write down the criticisms. Okay, here we go. The criticisms are, in my opinion, this is what I've heard. And if you have a different criticism, let's say you're a Destiny sympathetic liberal who has not enjoyed the past few months of my stream because of the presence of Doobie, Miradol, and Officer Nasty on occasion, the overwhelming donations of Doobie, and the drama with Destiny. I am happy to take your best criticisms and put them in this box, but I am going to put the criticisms that I've heard. Okay? Publicly outing Steven's business. Oh, and by the way, this is like a Wick talking point too. Was morally wrong. You chose content over friendship. What adults do in the privacy of their own communications is up to them. And I'm serious that this is an argument. J-O'ing to kids is morally neutral. And what's another one? I'll just add whatever you guys want me to add, okay? These are the main arguments that I've heard. But I'm going to tell you my response to these arguments. Publicly outing Steven's business was morally wrong. My motivation for outing Steven's business is because I already tried to do it in private. In November, I tried to do it in private. He didn't respond. He was still being an idiot. Not only that, I feel like I have a moral duty to other people like Erudite, like Dan Saltman, like Mooten, like any potential future orbiters, in order to know that Steven is still doing gross gooner shit in the fucking background. Okay? You think that you're going to be able to get close, be an orbiter, be a best friend, and that he's totally chilled out on the sex shit? Absolutely the fuck not. Okay? Absolutely the fuck not. He is still doing that shit. So, you just need to brace for impact that in the next year, in the next 2 years, some gross sex drama is going to pop off and it's going to malign his public reputation and it's going to malign your public reputation. Okay? Then, you chose content over friendship. No, I didn't. Because the truth is, I could have covered, and I did this as a reconciliation. As a reconciliation to the pro-Destiny Gooner crowd. They were like, hey, you put content over your friendship. You're just capitalizing on the drama. You're just backstabbing him like every other snarker that's ever happened. You're backstabbing him like every other orbiter. There was so much content, cynical content that I could have made in the week after. I could have covered Dan. I could have covered Mutin. I could have covered Destiny's response. I could have covered Wick's response. I could have covered everyone's fucking response, and it would have been endless content. But I wanted to try to placate the anti-drama people, and I wanted to try to placate the people who were sympathetic to Steven by not covering it, and I didn't. So if you think number 2, fuck you. Okay? How's that? Number 3, what adults do in the privacy of their own communications is up to them. Absolutely. I agree. If I had never found out about this, it would absolutely not be my fucking business. If Brit wasn't running around the fucking internet because, I don't know, she's crazy, she's a crazy person, and that is easily determinable within the first 5 minutes of talking to her, then yeah, I should know about this. I shouldn't give a shit about this. One of my mistakes was trying to be Steven's friend. Okay? Trying to be Steven's friend was a mistake. Because if I was just an orbiter, if we weren't personal friends, some gross sex story could come out and I could be like, yeah, I just like Steven for his political takes. It's easy. I could have just said, oh yeah, I like Steven for his political takes. I think his personal life is dog shit. And then I could have kept moving. And by the way, notice how that's what a lot of other people did. Hutch, that's arguably exactly what Hutch did. He capitalized on the drama. He covered the coverage. He made the money. He got the metrics, but he had enough distance from the situation that he was able to say, I don't know, guys. I don't know if this is true or not. And even if it is true, I think it's kind of gross, but I'm not his best friend. So as a result, gross, but I don't know if it's true or not. So I'm just going to keep doing what I do. Beautiful. From a business strategy standpoint, that's fucking beautiful. Truly, like Hutch is a Machiavellian savant of our time because he has enough proximity to talk about politics, but enough distance not to get caught truly in the web. Okay? So anyways, then there's people who have repeatedly said in my community that JOing to kids is morally neutral, or they made arguments about it. Even if they don't believe that on a personal level, they made that argument. Okay? So what I would say is that I don't give a fuck about this standpoint. Once again, if I lose you as an audience member, if I lose you as a donor, if I lose you as a whatever over don't JO to kids, whatever. I don't give a shit. Fucking leave. I never wanted you in the first place. The mere fact that we were in the mere fact that we were able to be like political project people for as long as we were, I don't care. Leave. I do not want you. Okay? Now, let's talk about the people that we lost though. All right? Because we have lost people. I think that Christian Valeris, no shit. He can come back. He can steelman his own argumentation. I don't care. I think I lost Christian Valeris because of this. I think I lost North because of this. I'm trying to think of any other community members or players, but realistically, these are the main two that I've lost. Then I would say I might lose, I'll put it in yellow, I might lose Jen Winkler over this. I might lose Fellrunner. Fellrunner has been incredibly loyal. He's a great guy, great community member, great mob, all that kind of stuff. But I am, he doesn't want me talking about this shit at all because he thinks every time we talk about it negatively, all we do is we invite bad shit back into the community. All we do is we get more snarkers, more counter snarkers, more DGG people, more assholes, more this, more that. So he doesn't like it. So basically, if I continue down the path of doing whatever the fuck I want, then we might lose Jen Winkler and Fellrunner. Now, I'm going to be real. We already lost Patriarch, who was an Oiler, reliable Oiler from Ukraine, And we may lose grassroots because of the presence of Doobie, Officer Nasty, and Miradol. Okay? And the reason why this stings, all of this hurts. Okay? All of this hurts. The reason why this hurts me substantially is because Christian Valeris was day one, man. Christian Valeris, I think, has been watching me for like 3 years. Maybe more. He's been watching me since like fucking probably the panel days. So losing Christian Valeris sucks. Losing North kind of sucks because we didn't get close enough in order to be political people. Like we're co-political people, but we weren't so close that it like hurts on like a personal level. But losing somebody that you share a political project with of, I don't know, bringing sanity to the right, it sucks. But also, I'm going to stick by all the argumentation that I had right here. Losing Jen Winkler and Fellrunner would suck. And then losing Patriarch has sucked, and losing Grassroots potentially losing Grassroots does suck. Yeah, maybe. Jen Winkler says, but Doobie will keep donoing for a while, but he'll get bored with us here complaining. Yeah, absolutely. But this is part of the reason why I'm putting it out here. Okay? Now, in my opinion, we still have a substantial amount of people who are still here. Okay? Even though Fashion 40, well, I don't know if I should name them by name because then that might leave them up for heat. But Fashion 40 seems to like ignore the drama. AF Racing, we lost a long time ago. AF Racing, we lost like a year ago, and it was over some like sex shit. You know? So like I don't count AF Racing as a part of the people that we, you know, that we care about in reference to this drama. Why would we maybe lose Grassroots? Because he fucking hates you, Officer Nasty. He fucking hates you. He hates Doobie. He hates Miradol. He hates all the snarkers. He hates the drama. He hates all this bullshit. He wants to go back to the OG cog. He wants chill liberals and chill center-right guys. And by the way, I agree with him. I wish we could get the old cog back. Okay? I agree. I wish I could press a button where, not the drama didn't happen, you know what I'm saying? But where we like mentally reset to the schism that has happened in the community. I wish I could just digitally kill you and kill Doobie, and then everything would be fine, right? But I don't think that's how it works. Okay? I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that I kill Doobie, and I don't think I kill Officer Nasty in Miradol, and then it's over. I don't think that's what happens. I think what ends up happening is a lot of the damage is done. The schism over sex shit is done. The criticisms over the way the Destiny drama was conducted is done. The way that I've been hostile to my critics, including longtime fans of the channel, is done. I don't think we fix this by going backwards. Okay? Horse God, thank you for the dono. Horse God says, you're not losing me. I'm too dumb to know what's going on. Excellent. So anyways. So the point is that we've lost, that there has been a schism in the community that has resulted with the far lefties being present, the split with the Gooners. We almost lost AK Batusai. AK Batusai still shows up sometimes. But weirdly enough, AK Batusai, he basically said, in the privacy of their own homes, that's adult shit, and fucking don't you fucking worry your pretty little face about it. Shut the fuck up. Right? So we even lost some, or maybe not lost, but potentially lost some right-wing Gooners too. Okay? So my thing is, though, that this is where we're going to move into like the future of the channel, I suppose. So this has been a slow death. Okay? This has been a slow death. In order to try to keep Patriarch, we specifically for Patriarch, we started doing exclusively Geopoll on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but because of the anti-Israeli, anti-Jewish, leftist bullshit, he still left. He didn't like it. Okay? He doesn't want to be a part of it. He doesn't want to be around Doobie, Officer Nasty, or Miradol. He doesn't want to be around the snarkers. He also really doesn't, according to a few people, he really doesn't like the constant emphasis on Israel and Jews. He's out. He doesn't like it. He doesn't want to be a part of it. And by the way, this is all voluntary. Okay? If you don't like the content, dip out. It is what it is, you know? Then Grassroots, very chill guy. Love him to death. Honestly, a huge reason why the channel was able to survive its early days was because of Grassroots. I will love Grassroots as a friend in perpetuity because of his support of the channel. Grassroots could literally come back and say, fuck you, Connor. I can't believe I supported your channel for this long. You're a fucking piece of shit. Eat a dick. I hope you die. And I would still be thankful to Grassroots for how much he supported the early COG. Like, I will consider him a friend for his viewership, for his friendliness, for his direct communications, for his financial support. He has my undying loyalty, even if I don't have his. Okay? Then, Christian Blaris truly makes me sad. It really does make me sad that we were not able to figure it out. You know, the publicly outing Steven's business, the you chose content over friendship, what adults do in the privacy of their own rooms is their fucking business, JOing to kids is morally neutral. I don't know if he ever said that. I feel like he did some like apologia defensive fucking arguments that I might have flipped the fuck out on, but I'm truly sad that Christian Blaris and I were not able to figure it out because I felt like he was like a foundation of the channel. And it sucks. Losing North also sucks, but if he wants to go pal around in DGG, it's only a matter of time. It is only a matter of time until he figures out what I figured out. It's only a matter of time where he realizes it's like, oh, these liberals and I actually do have substantive political differences. And we have substantive ideological and moral differences. I can be a orbiter for a while, but what's going to happen is eventually these substantive differences are going to drive a wedge in our relationship and we're not going to be the same thing. So it's only a matter of time, in my opinion. Jen Winkler and Fellrunner, weirdly enough, I think Jen Winkler stays enough. I think I'm handsome enough that Jen Winkler will forgive me. She might leave for a little bit, but, you know, I think I'm handsome enough that she'll forgive me. She'll forgive my stupidity because of my cuteness. And then Fellrunner, I think he said in chat that he's not going anywhere, which I do appreciate. But there's a couple of places that we can go because the truth is this wasn't really sustainable in the first place. Okay? We have always been reliant on Oilers. We've always been 50 to 150 people when we're covering hot drama. This person fucked this person. This Twitch and YouTube political streamer crashed the fuck out. You know, we would hit 150 to 300 people, right? That I think our max ever as a channel was probably like 1,000 during the drama, but I think our average max was like a 300. I think our average high drama days were 150. And I think the true COG, if I'm covering something dry, geopolitical, whatever, it's 50. It's always been 50. Let's be real. So we still have approximately 50 to 70 people who come out every single day. But because it's 50 to 70 people, we've always been reliant on Oilers. As has been pointed out by several community members who do not like Doobie's presence. Doobie is not true COG. Okay. AF Racing, we should talk about that separately. I'll try to scroll back up and address super chats, and I'll try to address what you said in chat separately. Okay. So it's not a sustainable model because Doobie openly, okay, openly does not want the liberals and the contrarian right and the never Trump conservatives. He views the establishment as part of the problem, okay? The center right, feeble, spineless Republicans who were incapable of stopping Trump are a part of the problem because they have perpetuated the stagnation that has destroyed our country. So my political tribe has contributed to the stagnation and corruption of the country that has been destructive for everyone. The liberals are just a wing of the same bird. They are a part of the same corruption, stagnation, and destruction. And so Doobie shit talks me via Super Chat, shit talks Israel via Super Chat, shit talks Destiny via Super Chat whenever we cover him, shit talks American imperialism whenever we cover him, and he does it all by Super Chat, which is very lucrative. But what people have pointed out to me, and bear in mind, this has not fallen on deaf ears, okay? I have heard you. What they have said is Doobie's presence in giving a substantive amount of money while forwarding further left positions is to normalize these positions within the cog in order to scratch at the stagnation and corruption of the centrists, of which I am trying to save. I am trying to save the fucking centrists as fallingly and small as I am, right? But to that, I would say, let's give our fucking balls a tug, okay? If interrupting once every 20 minutes in order to say, fuck you, Doobie, here's why you're wrong, destroys the channel for you, I truly don't know what to do for you. I hate to say this. I don't hate to say this. But if hearing me making money by saying, Doobie, fuck you, you dumb cunt, once every 20 minutes, sorry. Sorry. Go watch Hutch. Doobie is not an oiler over on Hutch. Go watch Pisco. I think Doobie does oil over at Pisco, to be honest. So maybe that's not a big fit. But I don't know what to do for you. I am coming from Twitch and YouTube politics where everybody talks about everything all the fucking time. Everybody fights about everything all the fucking time. So as a result, I don't think I can fix that. Obviously, it's a part of the calculation is channel finances. Part of the calculation is maintaining Oilers. But the truth is that we lost Patriarch. I don't think he's coming back. We lost Christian Vlaris. I don't think he's coming back. We lost North until North gets burned by DGG. Jen Winkler will tolerate me because I'm handsome. Fellrunner will tolerate me because he's a born dyed-in-the-wool cog. And Grassroots, we're probably going to lose, but he's a good egg, and he will forever, I need you to hear this, and I'm not just saying this for Grassroots, I'm saying this if Grassroots leaves, and then he's mourning, in his opinion, the corruption of the cog, I am saying I am forever grateful to Grassroots Hegemon for his early and substantial support of the channel. But we can't keep going the way that we've been going. So, let me tell you the problem. Here's the problem. Just being real. I am boring. I am dry. I talk for too long. I am such an autistic nerd that if you do not already know the topic that I'm talking about intimately, I'll say, well, then me yapping for 5 minutes, 70% of what I say is wasted. As a result of this, though, I have attracted hyper-employed intelligent, good human beings. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I feel like I am boring. I am dry. I do talk for too long. And unless you're an autistic nerd like me, 70% of what I say goes over your fucking head. Okay? But I feel like as a result, I have attracted employed, intelligent, good human beings. And that's good. But I don't think that's sufficient for a career, because this is still 50 to 150 people, 50 true cog, 150 drama hangers on. This is not a sustainable model. Trust me, I am ecstatic that effectively I get to wake up every single day and there are teachers. Okay, I think my son's class is limited to like 22 kids or 20 kids or something like that. I am happy that I get between 2 and 3 classrooms worth of people hanging out and bullshitting with me for 5 hours a day, and I happen to make money off of it. It's truly cool as shit. This job is fucking awesome. Okay, and the fact that I make money from it substantial enough that I'm able to pay my bills is fucking crazy pants. Okay? Number one, most people don't get this far. Number two, most people don't make as much money as I do off of such a small community because of the generosity of the community. Okay? But this isn't sustainable. And the reason why is because 70% of these people are Lockheed liberals. Let's just be real. 70% are Lockheed liberals and 30% are conservatarians. And so as a result, I feel like hanging out in the liberal spaces and debating Pisco on repeat, debating Destiny on repeat, covering the liberal leftist civil war on repeat, covering whatever is happening in our little niche of the internet on repeat. I do not think that it is a sustainable business model for long-term growth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we really have two options that I've articulated and I have agonized over for months. Okay? And I hate to say this, but I think I need to. I think we just need to rip the Band-Aid off, because we're at a crossroads no matter what. No matter what, the schism, the drama schism, has forced us to be at a crossroads no matter what. So we really have three options. Give me a second. Let me find my drawing. It's going to be dead air for a second while I look for my drawing. Dead air, 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 dead air. I want it to be accurate. I want it to be the updated cog. Where's the updated cog? Jesus, did I already pass it? God damn it. I think I passed it already. Fuck. Sorry. Give me a second. Here it is. All right. I just want to make sure that our social democrats get included, okay? All right. We have three options. One, this is option one. Keep doing what we're doing, stagnate, and die. This is option one. And this will be lose OG coggers because of doobie / snarker presence. Doobie gets bored of oiling because the anti-snarkers leave the channel, and as a result, there's no more oil, just chips. That is truly an option. Okay, an option is just stick at 40 to 50 live viewers. Keep picking 2 topics a day, cover them for 5 hours, and stagnate and die. The other option is shift rightward in coverage, attempting to criticize Asmongold, Tectone, Nuxtaku, Ben Shabibo, Nick Fuentes, Crucible, etc. We will lose Lockheed liberals who are not interested in right-wing coverage, but we might gain conservatarian market share, which is a more organic base. 3, the news model. First half of the day is covering, whatever content is viable. So old heads still feel like they have a spot. And then second half of the day is Rhino-style news coverage in order to try to replicate Josiah's model. Okay. These are the 3 options. So, we can keep doing what we're doing, stagnate and die. I'm serious. That's an option. And that truly could be what ends up happening. Maybe I don't have the balls to move into right-wing content. We lose all our liberals as a result of moving into right-wing content. People get bored with the channel and it fucking dies. Right? That is 100% a possibility. Another possibility is shifting into right-wing content and covering the right-wingers actually does attract conservatarians who are sick of these pieces of shit and how they've acted in the Trump era. And so as a result, we attract some conservatarians. And realistically, my choice is number 3, but, we might still pepper in some right-wing coverage in order to balance it out and try to get some conservatarians on the channel. Now, the third model is we spend the mornings covering content the same way we always do. Okay? Pick a piece of content, we watch it, we break it down, whatever. That way, the old school, the old heads still feel like the channel is what it was. But then around 12:30, I say, hey, I'm still going to be live. If you want to hang out, dono, like the stream, share it with your friends, engage with chat, super chats if you got them, memberships if you got them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then what I do is I effectively read or watch 3 or 4 news stories. I outline them live on stream. We do cursory research live on stream. I record 3 10 to 15 minute episodes, and then I might literally Photoshop the thumbnails live on stream and then post them to the channel as though I were in commentary, I think they call them like daily commentary news channel people. I think they call them like daily commentary. And then within the Josiah model, Josiah is effectively daily commentary for actual politics. He finds 3 or 4 news stories. He finds 3 or 4 clips. They're typically like national level stories. And he basically takes CNN or AP News or MSN or Fox News and then does that. So for me, I would vote number 3. But for y'all, I don't know what you guys want. But I'm just telling you that if the choice is between stagnate and die, because I don't think, I truly do not think that I could just ban Doobie, ban Officer Nasty, ban Miradol, And then Christian Valeris, North, Patriarch, Grassroots Hegemon, Jen Winkler, and Fellrunner come back and give me a big fucking hug and promise to love me and financially support me until I'm 80 years old. I don't think that's how it works. Now, if Jen Winkler, Fellrunner, Christian Valeris, North, Patriarch, and Grassroots Hegemon want to get into a group call and say, hey, ban Doobie and ban Officer Nasty and ban Miradol, and then we'll come back and we'll love you and we'll scratch your head and scratch your back and we'll give you hundreds and thousands of dollars and we'll love you until the day we die. You know, I'm open to a marriage proposition, but I don't think that's how it works, right? I don't think that's how it works. I think the damage is done. So, with that being said, it might be worth a shot. Thank you, Molly. I appreciate it. So I think the path forward is number 3. Okay? This is death. Just keep covering, 2 live streams per day in perpetuity until I lose everybody's interest. Then this, I think, is the path forward for growth that is organic, not reliant on collaborations, not reliant on other creators, not reliant on orbiting. And then this, in my opinion, is a path that could be productive, but I don't have as much faith in it as the daily news shitter commentary model. Okay. And the reason why I brought down the COG thing, hold on, let me do this, is because this, pretty much no matter what, this is going to require some right-wing shift where I start covering news of the day and or right-wing creators in order, like, no offense to the Lockheed liberals. I've loved my Lockheed liberals. I want to be friends with the Lockheed liberals. I want to maintain my Lockheed liberal audience. But I think we have to cover news as a conservatarian. So anyways, that's my shit. That's my perspective. I am, seriously, I'm not kidding. I am mourning the loss of Patriarch. I am mourning the potential loss of Grassroots Hegemon, Fellrunner, and Jen Winkler. I am mourning the loss of North and Christian Valeris. I'm sad that this schism has occurred. But if I have to lose people because of the schism within the past month, and if I have to lose people because of Doobie, Officer Nasty, and Miradol's presence, if I have to transition into a different content creation model, it is what it is. And by the way, I literally see this reflected in the viewership. When we were talking about Destiny, drama, snarking, counter-snarking, all that kind of shit, we bumped up to like 70 to 80 viewers. When I started moving into what is the true COG and what do we need to do to survive, we dropped back down to 50. So I literally see the metrics in real time. So, anyways. Let's move that up. Let's move that up. Let's move that up. Let's move that up. The life and death of the COG. All right, let me take a look at the super chatters. Let me take a look at what AF Racing said, and we'll take it from there. Excuse me. Nickelodeon. All right. I got 2 from Officer Nasty, says, starting the day as a goofy gooner. True. Horse God with the 5 says, not losing me. I'm too dumb to know what's going on. Thanks, Horse God. You're a natural cogger. Solida says, oh, kill me too. No. Fashion 40 with the 20. Thank you, King. I appreciate you. Thank you for the $20. Doobie for the 10 says, rage and conflict sustain me. Devil face. Doobie says, I think the age play Ayatollah's relentless maniac spiral has massively damaged the TwitchTube political sphere. You guys would be better off organizing panels, debates, networking, etc. away from him. Now, that's easier said than done. But what I would say, partially, what motivated my animus for this is talking to a couple of OG coggers who don't like Doobie, don't like Officer Nasty, don't like Miradol. And so partially that is what inspired this morning's content. The other thing that I would say inspired this morning's content is Steven calling fucking doubling down. I was literally watching this and I was fucking befuddled. But if I was watching Steven doubling down on calling Pisco an anti-Semite to Mantis and a tomfoolery. And the truth is, I am so fucking sick of everyone in this space being such a fucking pussy that when Steven behaves poorly, they can't call it out because he's too big. The DGG sphere, if you criticize Steven for calling Pisco a fucking anti-Semite, then you're liable to have a DGG fucking dog pile either in your chat, on your post-recorded content, dislike bombed, fucking emailed your bosses, all that kind of shit. Fuck that. Fuck that. And I'm fucking done. I am so done with that. I am so done with that. You want everybody to walk on fucking eggshells around you. You want everybody to oh, don't talk about my sex drama or else we'll harass you. That's snarking. Don't cover my personal life. Don't cover my court case. Don't do this. But you're a rabid anti-Semite. And by the way, he's right when he says that fucking Hassan Piker's a terrorist supporter. He's right when he says Pisco sweeps for the fucking lefties too goddamn much. But fucking coming out and being like, you're an anti-Semite. Fuck you. Fuck you. You think that Pisco wakes up every single day and he goes, Jews. The fucking Jews. That's crazy. That is truly unmoored from reality. And so, if you're going to fucking come out here, throw elbows. Oh, and then also, Josiah's a piece of shit because he was steel manning or trying to communicate with a far lefty dude who claimed to be a liberal, but let's be real, a far lefty dude sweeping for the DSA and for Hassan Piker. And you're going to say that, oh, I don't know if I can be a co-political person with Josiah anymore. He's just so brain rotted by the lefties. Josiah is one of like the nicest go along to get along big tent Democrats in the Twitch and YouTube political sphere. He doesn't engage in drama. He doesn't fucking fight. What that, in my opinion, thinking from a Machiavellian standpoint, that is truly just trying to burn the bridges that are already burned with Josiah and with Pisco in order to get a few extra eyeballs. That's what that shit is. And it should be called out, and it should be called out as absolutely psychotic, unhinged fucking behavior. And by the way, here's another fucking call out. Hutch shouldn't be able to just go, oh, well, you know, I'm going to go on every now and then in order to have like a nice, sweet, kind, gentle pat on the back debate with Destiny. Meanwhile, he's calling my friends an anti-Semite, and he's calling my friend a fucking like a dumbass lefty platforming anti-Semitic piece of shit because they're too kind to far left. Fuck that. You want to throw elbows? Get fucking elbows thrown, motherfucker. How about that shit? How about instead of, oh, he's a fucking anti-Semite, fuck his job, contact his job, dox his family, fuck him? Guess what? It's coming back, you fucking dipshit. And here's the other thing. What I'm saying is fucking true. Call CPS on me, motherfucker. Go ahead. Guess what? They're not going to find shit. They're going to find a clean house. They're going to find groceries. They're going to find a father who loves their kids. They're going to find a mother who loves their kids. They're going to find an amicable divorce. They're going to find a good fucking situation for my kids. Call CPS, motherfucker. How about that shit? How about fuck you? How's that? So sick of this. And by the way, here's the truth of it. I didn't put my tail between my legs for the 2 weeks after the drama because I was worried about Destiny or worried about DGG. I wasn't worried about any of that shit. Fuck Destiny, fuck DGG. Okay? What I was worried about was I knew there were people who had cross-pollinated over from DGG, and I didn't want them to take shit. And I wanted them to still enjoy the content. I wanted them to still enjoy being here. But you know what? Half measures haven't fucking gone anywhere. Okay? The whole thing of like, oh, well, you know, it's just his personal life. And, you know, I still like his politics. Yeah, I still like his politics. Yeah, I think his personal life is where he's fucking up. But if he wants to throw elbows like that, we'll fucking throw elbows too. How about that shit? Yeah, J-Stock stands for just talking, not Jew stalker. J-Stock is cringe and gay and fucking lame for 10,000 different reasons besides Jew stalker. Also, here's the other thing. When food shops in Destiny get to dominate the narrative unchallenged, they just get to make shit up. They just get to make shit up. Food Shops was saying I was trying to torpedo her career by spam messaging Destiny about her being a fucking pedophile and how he shouldn't be platforming a pedophile. Show me the spam messages, you dumb bitch, or you're fucking lying. Literally, get the fucking screenshots from Destiny about spam messaging. And by the way, if there's a half dozen messages of saying, I don't know why you're associated with a pedophile, guess what? That's not spam messaging. That's just truth. Why are you in the space? Why are you accepted as a normal variable? Why is you jacking off to kids just a normal part of the political space? Fuck that and fuck you. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, Food Shops made this shit up entirely too. She said, Lav was DMing me, trying to get me to turn on Destiny, and I bet that's what happened to Connor. No, you dumb bitch. What I found out was that my alleged friend was jacking off to kids, according to 3 people. And he's a public person who's in charge for sex shit. So, even if he wasn't jacking off to kids, sexting a married woman who accuses you of jacking off to kids is crazy enough. So no, it had nothing to do with Lav. It had nothing to do with Mr. Girl. It had nothing to do with J-Stock. You know who caused me to dislike Steven? Steven. You know who confirmed that I shouldn't like Steven anymore with his dog shit behavior after the fact? Steven. I was not peeled off. That's another, and fuck Wick too. Wick coming out and saying, oh, Connor was peeled off by the snarkers. No, it wasn't the snarkers who convinced me Steven was a fucking asshole. It was Steven. You fucking pussies, you clowns, you weak, spineless bitches, you gelatinous fucks. Anyways. Nameless for 5. Flesh supremacy requests again, but I don't know. Just sad. Why are you sad? Aren't you a fucking leftist? Don't you hate liberals? Anonymous for 20. If you're going to keep Officer Nasty and Doobie around, fine, but if you're going to let them launch 20-minute baseless crusades against Alishness instead of engaging in what she said unchallenged, I'm out. Tighten the leash. Okay. There is a balance here. I am okay. And by the way, we'll just do this right now, okay? I am... Oh, so for instance, if we wanted to come up with ground rules as a community, like, so for instance, this is a reasonable ground rule. If we said we're only allowed to talk about the content while we're doing the content. So for instance, like, if the content is not related to Israel-Palestine, Doobie can't talk shit about Israel-Palestine. If the content is not related to Destiny, then Officer Nasty and Doobie can't talk shit about Destiny. I'm okay with that as a rule. I think that's okay. But you guys have to understand that Owlishness has swept for food shops, and I view food shops as a pedophile. So when I see Officer Nasty, you guys can hate Officer Nasty. You can truly think he is one of the dumbest, most aggressive, autistic, annoying pieces of shit in the chat. You can truly, I do not care if you dislike Officer Nasty. But it's nice to see somebody go, ew, gross, you sweep for a pedophile. Sorry, if more of the normal people said, hey, Owlishness, why are you sweeping for a pedophile? That's fucking gross. Then maybe I wouldn't let Officer Nasty be unhinged for fucking 20 minutes towards Owlishness for sweeping for a fucking pedophile. Okay? So maybe the normal people, maybe the sane people need to step up a little bit. And they need to fucking say what they think is wrong. Maybe that's what needs to fucking happen. Clem says you should go argue with Pisco. He's navel-gazing again. Maybe. Doobie says, my unsolicited advice to all of you is to build a new orbit. Live and learn, Jola, J-Stock, want to do politics, Aiden Prime, LB, Loaderbox, Ryan Mulally, Tomfoolery, etc. should just refocus on politics together. Sure. But I'm not talking about, like, cutting out Destiny. Like, I don't give a shit about cutting out Destiny. If Destiny wants to be a part of the debate space, if he wants to fucking throw elbows, if he wants to fucking talk shit, if he wants to talk about current events, if he wants to talk about politics, I don't give a fuck. That's totally fine. But if you're going to be fucking running around calling Pisco a rabid anti-Semite, if it was 1940s Germany, Pisco would be a Nazi, then don't expect when people talk shit back. And don't fucking clutch your pearls about it. Prairie Lib. An action can be unconscious until someone points out that it's racist, sexist, etc. After that, if you don't change, then you have chosen the action. That is what's happening with Pisco. No. I reject that Pisco being friendly to far lefties is akin to being a fucking Nazi. That's dumb as fuck. Yeah. Him calling Jola an op is flat up what the fuckery. I don't even know who Jola is. I haven't even seen the conversation. But saying that Jola, some fucking TikTok progressive, is a right-wing psyop on the left in order to destroy the left is dumb as fuck. There clearly can be dumb fucking lefties. I don't know if you've noticed this. I've kind of been talking to dumb lefties for the past fucking half decade of my life. AK Batusai says, are we just going to ignore that Josiah said multiple times that he has no problem lying to an audience in line about conservative politics just to help Democrats win? You would have to show me a clip. All right. Doobie says, Owlishness goes on debate panels and makes terrible arguments. I engage with her like I do anything else. I don't know what kind of crush you've got with her, but debate is fine, actually. Captain Save a Ho. All right. Jen Winkler. No, Josiah is capitulating to the leftists openly and publicly. Destiny is being a dick about it and sucks because Josiah is a nice person, but Josiah and Pisco will let the... Where's the continuation? Where is it? I missed your continuation. Okay. But what I would say is, I've had conversations with Pisco and I said, hey, you're fucking sweeping for the far leftists. It's cringe as fuck. And then you know what we did? We had a conversation and a fight about it. I didn't call him a rabid anti-Semite. Same thing with Josiah. I think I went on to Live and Learn specifically to say, hey, you guys are being fucking pussies and you're being too nice to leftists. I think I went onto their show and I said that to their fucking face. I didn't call them functional anti... You know who a fucking anti-Semite is? An anti-Semite is somebody who wakes up every day and they hate fucking Jews. Not only do they hate the state of Israel, they also hate Jewish people just for being Jewish. Okay? Pisco doesn't hate Jewish people just for being Jewish. Josiah doesn't hate Jewish people just for being Jewish. And just because they, like, sanitize anti-Zionists doesn't make them anti-Semitic. And to pretend otherwise is dumb as fuck. And if you're going to throw an elbow that fucking hard in the space, then you better goddamn believe everybody else has the right to throw elbows back. Doobie for 10 says, yeah, I'm not saying he should be out forever. Dude just needs to get out of the self-destructive spiral he's been and stop maliciously lashing out at others in the space with dishonest smears. Yeah. Or he can go with dishonest smears. Let's be real. Dishonest smears are great for content. Calling a Pisco an anti-Semite. Oh, man, he just started a content discourse. He just gave me content for the day by calling Pisco a rabid anti-Semite. But if you're going to call people rabid fucking anti-Semites, then guess what? People are going to be criticizing you quite harshly as well. Does Doobie wake up hating Jews? No, he wakes up hating Israelis, though. He wakes up hating Zionists for sure. All right. Are we going to get to the actual content so we can hear the arguments, or do we just get straw man nonsense? Yeah, sure. Let's get to the content. Good point, Prairie Lib. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. I just DM'd Pisco. And I said, I'm crashing out over fucking Destiny calling you an anti-Semite. Let me know if you want to call. Yeah. Officer Nasty sent me a fucking DM showing that food shops out of morbid curiosity looked for real CSAM from somebody. But truth be told, I don't get, she's a fucking pedophile. But there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than someone who is openly attracted to children. If you want to be attracted to children, keep that shit to your fucking self. Okay? And don't ever touch a child. And if you actually touch a child, then you should be incarcerated or killed by the state. Okay? That's just it. Like if you have sex, if you're obviously, when it comes to a phobophilia, there's a nuance there, right? I don't give a shit about a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old having sex. I don't think I give a shit about an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old having sex. I don't give a shit about fucking Romeo and Juliet scenarios. What I do give a shit about is a 26-year-old DMing a 17-year-old and playing out sex scenarios where the 17-year-old is pretending to be under the age of 10. Okay? Gross, vile, disgusting. Fuck you. You should not be a part of the space. Gross. Officer Nasty says, all I asked for was people to stop modding me for being against Destiny while the people call for Doobie, rape children, or threatening me personally are given the green light. Sure. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Okay. We'll figure out what the rules are. So this is an olive branch. I don't know if Anonymous is still out there. There's clearly a difference between drawing firm lines, being unrepentant in our criticism with our rivals and enemies, and then allowing us to be subsumed by three people who viciously hate Destiny and Israel. Okay? I'm not trying to be subsumed by whatever, the fucking motivations of the snarkers. But what I have found is I have been trying to placate my own audience with half measures. I've been trying to placate them with Geopoll Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've been trying to placate them by moving away from the drama content. I've been trying to placate them by not talking shit about Steven on a personal level. But the truth is, this is setting up a scenario where the elbows only go one way. And the truth is, I haven't retained the people I've been trying to retain. So if I've lost the people that I was trying to retain, fuck it. Let's just do what we do and let the chips fall where they may. All right. But fucking Prairie Lib is fucking right. Instead of straw manning Steven, we should go watch him call Pisco a fucking anti-Semite. Yeah. Okay. Then what would you want to talk about? Because honestly, I'm done holding back on him being a piece of shit and expecting people not to throw elbows back. Yeah, here's a little drama meme throwaway. Here's a little drama meme throwaway. Steven's biggest own on me is that I got divorced. He's divorced. Literally the next time we're in a fucking call and he's like, Connor, where's your wife? Where's your wife? Where's your wife? Where's your wife? I'm gonna be like, where's your fucking wife? You fucking idiot. You cheated on her. She went to a different fucking country. She started fucking a femboy and then she started fucking a Skarsgård. That's where your wife is. My wife is 20 minutes away raising my children. Where's your fucking wife, idiot? All right, you guys ready? Hi guys, welcome to Counterpoints. My name's Connor. I'm a science fiction politics. Well, hold on. Hold on. Pisco. All right. Hold on one second. Pisco might want to talk. Okay. So, do you want to talk about it or no? It will bring negative. Oh, okay. Fuck it. All right. Call now or later? Question mark. Forgive the dead air. Pisco, I'm just figuring out whether or not Pisco wants to call now or later. Hold on. Wait a minute. Dead air. Waiting for Pisco. We're either going to introduce this segment with Mantis where Destiny doubles down on fucking shit talking. Which, by the way, I think everybody in the fucking space sees that this is a bid for attention. It is truly a bid for negative attention. I'll just say it right now. Steven's parents didn't love him enough. Okay? It's what caused him to constantly want attention, negative or positive. It drives his career. And God bless him. He's excellent at getting both positive and negative attention. But it is deeply rooted in childhood fucking trauma. Okay? All right, fuck it. I don't know. Stop it, Connor. It's true. What do you want me to do about it? It's fucking true. The reason why he's talking about fucking dead kids in Texas who were jacking off using VPNs is because he needs negative attention. If his dad had given him more hugs, Destiny would not exist as he exists today. I'm not joking. That is truly, like, that is truly how I fucking feel. His career would not exist if he got more hugs. All right, fuck it. Pisco's taking too long. I'm going to introduce the content. I'll let Pisco call halfway through. Okay. Hi, guys. Welcome to Counterpoints. My name's Connor. I'm a science fiction, politics, and philosophy nerd, a Marine Corps and law enforcement veteran. I would argue a real Republican, and I am a rhino. A Republican who is trying to be honest, have integrity, nuance, and objectives. Stephen Bennell, a fucking lunatic who I used to consider a friend, is doubling down on the fact that he is throwing elbows within the liberal and lefty space because there are liberals who are too friendly to leftists. And so as a result, he's already burned a non-existent bridge with Josiah, saying that he is too sympathetic to fucking leftists. And he's now attempting to re-burn the bridge with Pisco by saying that he's a rabid anti-Semite. We're going to take a look at the content and we're going to break it down. Let's go.
I can't do that. I can't go to the level of cringe that you can go to, apparently.
Good.
It's very
you know
difficult
what?
for me.
To some extent, that's fine, and I'm happy. Maybe you guys don't say it, but when all these other motherfuckers are like, well, maybe we should learn something from these guys. Maybe you learn something. This is what we learn, because this is what they're doing, because this is what works. Unfortunately. So if you don't like it, like I don't like it, then find a way to make them stop. And I understand that you call people out or whatever, right? But it's got to be people with big platforms. And it can't constantly be that they're all too busy making $1.3 million a year off their anti-Trump YouTube channels, but they're too afraid to say anything. Like, if we end up losing that Senate seat in Michigan, it's because of people like Josiah, and it's because of people like Pisco. It is their fault that we lost the Senate seat because they were too scared to have any criticism for these far-left people until the Republicans came out with the army of BBC dildos and ripped us over and over again with these comments, with these weak positions that they were too weak to call out.
You think people are staring at the TV and watching Kamala Harris ads on, you know, all the dude bros?
Yeah, I think older people, the people who actually go.
Join the Discord.
I said I'm
Better get
talking.
over there.
I messaged says I don't like that he doesn't answer questions straight up.
Did he not get completely and totally raped? What was
He
the least
owned-
rape part of the conversation?
Probably when he just owned the shit, when he said like straight to your face, yeah, I would support this person, or no, that's fucked, or whatever. Like, but you don't like when he does that either because you think it's all like an op thing.
That wait, I don't even understand what point.
When he just when you ask him questions,
so the
I don't know.
best
An
part,
example is like
he
when you
owned
said
being
would
a
he
retard?
support.
That was the most owning part of the.
Well, you tried to get him. You were like, oh, you tried to pin him with like, oh, if this socialist candidate did this thing, or if this whatever. I don't know who you were talking about. Maybe it's Abdul or something. Would you
I
support
just
them?
asked him one question on the who he supported in the Wisconsin governor race. I was curious. I asked a question.
Say Crowley.
Yeah. So that was the
Yeah.
part that he did well in when he said he would support Crowley.
And he doesn't like Hong. He would admit that he hates Hong and he thinks Hong's retarded and stuff. Like,
Okay, so at
I don't
every
know,
single point where we had to like argue an actual point and I just give an opinion on who he'd vote for, he got completely and utterly raped in that conversation, right?
yeah, I think for the most part, you did a good job of pointing out where he fucked up.
Well, it
Sorry, this is quite funny. Somebody says Tom always gives me supervillain vibes. Somebody said he's local librarian Lex Luthor, and I thought that was beautiful.
I did a good job because he f***ing lies and misrepresents his views and consistently leans in one direction for far left people, right? That was happening over and over again, that he was getting called out on his lie about the Gillibrand jihad comment. That was a complete and total fucking lie. That he was totally clueless about whether or not El Sayed had actually said he would endorse Stevens after the race and then tried to make a huge fucking deal about it, even though the response was mixed at best. That he completely and totally lied about the, there was one other point. But that he does this consistently.
Desmond or some shit?
What?
Desmond Crockett or something?
Oh,
He got a lot of stuff
about the
wrong.
Crockett thing too. Yeah, that he lied about her saying that Tallarico ran a racist campaign. Right? These are all lies that he tells because he gets good viewership.
See,
on it
I
and
don't
admitted,
see,
right?
but here's the difference is I don't necessarily. Everything is like malice to you. Everyone is malicious. I don't see that with Jola. I think he just fucked up because he's on TikTok doing his retarded TikTok thing. It's just gay and dumb, and they just do little clip things, and it probably is for his channel to get boosted a lot of the time. So he doesn't do very good research. But like
Okay,
he
that's
admits
fine,
he's
but then
wrong.
Shouldn't he? No, but then shouldn't it be, instead of coming onto here and saying like, after an hour, I got so tired of the conversation because I realized we were just going to endlessly loop because I'm a very serious politics person. I do on the ground organizing. Shouldn't he just not say that and just like kind of own up to being a retarded little teeny bopper?
Yeah, but he's a
TikToker?
sarcastic
Just
piece
say
of
that?
shit like he always is at all times. He's very sarcastic. And
It's
he's
not about being
really...
no, wait. So you think he's being sarcastic when he says, I do real politics and Dustin isn't going to look at these primaries
I
and
think
I do
he's
real
being
politics? You think that's
snarky.
sarcasm?
I think he's being snarky.
Yeah, he's being snarky by trying to imply that I know nothing and he's like the real politics guy. Meanwhile, you're trying to excuse him as a retarded TikToker kid who's getting like information wrong consistently in one direction over and over and over again. That doesn't make sense, right? He's not being sarcastic and snarky. He's trying to hide behind that, or you're trying to cover him behind that.
Yeah, but
When
my
he's saying,
issue
"That's
is-
a fucking
my
racist
issue is-
conversation because he's wrong over and over again, right?
My issue is not with you having a problem with Jola. It's calling him an op, like acting like he's doing some kind of like purposeful thing.
I don't know if it's purposeful or not, but I asked him. I asked him point blank, if you were trying to be a transplanted op from the opposition, what is something that they would have you do differently than what you do now? And he literally couldn't answer the question. He said he'd have to think about it.
That's an interesting question. And if I was taking Steven on good faith, I would be like, oh man, that is a good question. What an own. But in my opinion, that's a complex question. So if somebody from the right wing asked me, hey, you claim to be a Republican, and yet you swept for the Democrats in 2024, you know, what makes you different functionally from being a Democrat? I would actually have to go and say, I don't know, fighting Democrats on their gross sex shit, you know, which is not like a functional electoral thing, right? I would also, I would be able to say, oh, I have lines, I'm not going to be voting for fucking socialists. I would choose a center-right Republican over a socialist. And then they would be like, okay, well, then you're an independent. You know what I'm saying? That's a complex question. So I understand that was probably like a decent dunk. But if Jola is a floundering TikTok bro, which, by the way, I truly do not know who Jola is. I would actually have to go watch the original in order to see what the fuck was going on. But the point is, like, I'm sure that was an awesome dunk, but I'm going to need more than that. Also, I do want to show you guys this. Oh, man, I might have just exited it. Anyways, if you want to see what tomfoolery looks like, Google Lex Luthor Smallville. Lex space Luthor Smallville. You can also rewind about 1 minute, and I had him up on screen. But literally, actually, physically, metaphysically, tomfoolery looks like Lex Luthor with a goatee.
What am I supposed to take from that?
I mean, he can be used as an op. That's true because he is. If you're gonna play the game of politics,
then he'll be treated as an op, right? That's fair. If he's too retarded to understand, that's fine. But he has to be treated as an op then, right? Because he's doing the work for the enemy. So I don't know how else. And then he's out here being snarky and I'm so bored of the comics. I'm such real politics. You know, like, well, of course you're an op. You be treated as an op. You're controlled.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's
intentionally, unintentionally. But how are you supposed to treat him at that point?
I get that this is like what you have to do is you're drawing really hard lines in the sand because you like this is your job, I suppose. But I guess I just don't like it.
Real quick, just to specify, my hard line is this in the sand is people who support terrorist attacks and people who make death threats against me. Do you think that's a ridiculous line in the sand to draw? That's crazy,
he
right?
Doesn't support. Are you talking about Hassan?
That's a ridiculous line in the sand. Do you think that's an insane line?
Are you talking about Hassan?
I'm just asking you real quick before we get to Hassan. Is that an insane line in the sand to draw?
That's Hassan Piker and Mike from PA, right? Just confirming with chat. Hassan Piker is support for terrorism. Mike from PA is the death threat. Doobie says he lies about the convo with Jola. Of course, Jola proved him wrong repeatedly throughout the convo, which is why Destiny is saying he's a snarker op for communists. Well, I mean, I'd have to take a look at that. But just to bring a fact to the fore, Mike from PA was talking about like, oh, I know Destiny's down in Miami and he's such a bad guy and this, that, the other. So if you're in Florida and you want to make $100,000, you know, hit my line. And so effectively, Mike from PA was saying that I will give you $100,000 if you go beat the shit out of and or kill Destiny. And then Hassan Piker, this is where I agree. Hassan Piker is a terrorist fucking simping dick shit. Fuck him. Okay? We agree with that shit. But one of the things that happened in yesterday's content was that because Pisco and because Josiah both are more willing to be friendly with whatever that guy was who was on the Wick debate, and that guy in turn was friendly or sweepy for Hassan Piker, then Josiah and Pisco were being assigned with the same level of malice that they sweep for terrorism and they sweep for anti-Zionism because they're willing to be friendly with somebody who's willing to be friendly with Hassan Piker, which is fucking cringe. I don't know if you guys remember this shit, but back in Twitch and YouTube politics, we had this thing by guilt by association where a Twitch and YouTube panel would be popping the fuck off and there would be a topic and then the accusation would be, oh yeah, well, you're friends with this bad guy who said a bad thing. And what would happen is the panel would erupt and call that person a dipshit because saying you're associated with a bad guy is not good argumentation in reference to any topic. So the fact that Twitch and YouTube politics has fucking devolved into not only guilt by association, but guilt by association is fucking cringe. Okay? It sucks. It's lame. Fuck that.
No, that's not an insane line in the sand to draw. He doesn't support Hassan, so I don't know why you would have a problem with someone like Jola, who is pretty outwardly against like the dummies in the party.
Then why is it that every piece of misinformation that he propagates happens to favor them?
I can answer this question better than fucking Mantis. It's because rolling up to the midterms, the liberals want to cast as big of a tent as possible, which includes never Trump Republicans and leftists, as long as they have the opportunity to win a seat, because they view MAGA as such a deep threat to the country that they will even side with socialists because they think that the guardrails will hold against the socialists the way that they have with AOC, Mom Donnie, and what's another one? Chevalier and all that kind of shit. Right? It's almost like you could contend with their argumentation while not agreeing with it and not being an asshole and not resorting to calling them fucking socialist, terrorist supporting Nazis. Right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Why
if it's
did he spend
always
so much time
favoring
in this
them.
space trying to tone police other people hitting the far left, but will never tone police the far left hitting moderates? Because he'll never talk to them about it, by the way.
Oh, I don't really. Most of Jola's content that I've known Jola for has only been shitting all over MAGA. I haven't seen him barely. I don't watch his TikToks, so I'm probably not the right person to talk to about his fucking dumb TikToks. His TikToks is for losers.
Yeah, I was
But,
going to say
like,
the same thing. I don't know it's in one direction because I don't ever see his TikToks.
But personally, from everything I've ever seen of Jola on YouTube, which he hasn't been doing for the last however many months, it was all fucking just, let's just rape MAGA retards. That is it. Rape, 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 as hard as he can fucking go. And he was really snarky and he was really good at it, and that was it. Like, I don't...
That's cool. So why
he's
don't you
more
just keep doing that? Then
progressive.
why is he
He's
giving-
more
why is he giving an
progressive than
opinion?
me and Tom, for example. He's probably... Yeah, he's
Yeah,
probably
I'm too
more
old
progressive
at this
than you.
point for that one. I'm sorry, but the whole, oh, he's just way more to the left. No, bullshit. It's a sweeper. It's a socialist op. They just don't want to admit it. No, 100%. That's every time now. That's just what it
No
means. I don't think
way,
anybody who left to me
dude.
is not a fucking socialist at this point. I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at. Because,
You
like,
can't just, yeah, I understand that's where you're at, but this is my problem: is you can't just call everyone who's like to the left like a
this
socialist.
is my problem. Is
fucking
that people
op
like
person.
you and all
It's-
you guys keep saying, like, oh, he's being unhinged and he's being crazy and he's being irrational. And then every time I have a conversation, it is just pure, unadulterated NFL, BBC rape against everybody that tries to argue against me on all these points. And it's embarrassing. If you could have a single person that could bring a single point to be like, Destiny, I think that your position on this is unreasonable, then I'd be like, oh, okay, fine. But instead, I'm getting more excuses from you than I'm getting for a 95-year-old grandma with Parkinson's shitting herself at the fucking family Thanksgiving dinner. It's insane to me, and that it's always one way, and nobody has any other counting points. But it's like, well, I think you're just kind of being irrational. Do you think that's like a little bit frustrating from my perspective?
I understand that it's frustrating from your perspective. I get it. I'm usually fully on board with you. I just think at times, like, okay, for example, like the whole going at Pisco thing. I fucking agree. Pisco's a sweeper. He's being fucking annoying. He's being a pussy. He's weak. And I think it's fine to accuse him of being like pulling way too much weight for those cunts. And same with Josiah as well. Josiah was fucking disappointing, and I would fully go in on him, and I have been going in on them on Twitter, but I wouldn't call him an anti-Semite. I understand that you're doing this gay little functional anti-Semite thing, but why do you have to cross the line from like reasonable, he's a fuckwit, into like unreasonable, or now he's just like hates Jews and shit, or like he's an
In World
anti-Semite.
War
Like, it
For the content, for the negative attention, for the positive attention. It's because his dad didn't give him enough hugs. And so as a result, Steven has found a successful career being a fucking asshole on the internet for positive and negative attention. Okay? If his dad had given him hugs and played baseball with him, Steven would have a whole emotional center that doesn't need to constantly be filled with negative and positive attention. And as a result, he would have failed as a live streamer. But the truth is that deeply rooted in his emotional trauma is a constant desire for negative attention. And so as a result, he can't be a sane person and say, oh man, I really hate it when fucking Josiah and Pisco and the Live and Learn crew are too friendly with fucking lefties. He has to go an additional step and say, oh, Pisco's the biggest piece of shit on the fucking planet. He wakes up and he fucking hates Jews. You know, which is patently fucking insane to anyone who doesn't want to fucking cock sweep for Steven.
doesn't need to go into that unreasonable territory for you to make the same fucking point.
Pisco would have been a Nazi in World War II. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know if like the woke like time period, like the reaction to it, like broke all of your guys' minds when it came to any kind of social understanding ever. What the fuck do you think it means to be bigoted? Bigotry doesn't mean that you were born with an extra touch of evil in your heart. It means.
And by the way, I think he goes for like a systemic definition now, which is so fucking funny. Bigotry is a stubborn, unreasonable intolerance for any group belief or opinion that differs from one's own. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what he says.
That you've created a permission structure and you have some beliefs that's
Let's see if permission structure is in here. Bigotry is a stubborn, unreasonable intolerance of any group, belief, and opinion that differs from one's own. It involves holding strong, closed-minded prejudices and treating people unfairly because of differences in race, religion, nationality, gender, or sexual orientation. I didn't see the word permission structure once in this definition. That's crazy. It's almost like Steven is trying to create a definition so he can horseshoe his own stupid fucking position into reality. But if you pay attention, and if you're not a fucking idiot, then you should be able to see, holy shit, he's literally making up a definition out of thin air. Weird.
Biased against a certain group of people that you use to facilitate mass hatred towards those people.
I
That's what it
agree.
means. So
I fucking
Nowhere, that's literally like a systemic racism, or that's a systemic racism definition, not a bigotry definition. He literally just took the definition for systemic racism, shoehorned it into fucking bigotry. Because he's out on a fucking limb here, and the limb is weak as shit.
I agree with you, but
what is the difference between Pisco? What is the difference between Pisco and a standard anti-Semite?
Okay, the difference between Pisco.
Let's go take a look at Ryan Gosling Nazi speech. Let's get a copyright.
Pisco and a standard anti-Semite is Pisco is a fucking autistic retard. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you give way too much weight to.
All right, here we go. Here is a bigot who actually hates Jews that is representative of actual neo-Nazis who exist in America. So, neo-Nazis are rare. Okay? They're rare. But they exist. And this is what an actual bigot believes.
The modern world was a Jewish disease. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
In the movement, this racialist movement, we believe there's a hierarchy of races, you know. Whites at the top, blacks at the bottom, Asians, Arabs, Latins, somewhere in between. Why are you writing this down if you're recording it?
It helps me concentrate. Danny, what about the Jews?
Jews, Judaism, it's like a sickness.
How is Judaism a sickness?
Take sexuality.
Sexuality?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You ever fuck a Jewish girl?
What?
Did you ever fuck one?
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, I've been out with a Jew.
There you go. What did you notice?
Like what?
Jewish girls love to give head. Right?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. Is that right?
And Jewish men love to get it.
Everybody likes to get it.
Yes, it's very pleasurable, but Jews are obsessed with it. You want to know why?
Yes. Why?
Because a Jew's essentially female.
Female.
Yeah. Real men, white, Christian men, we fuck a woman, we make her come with our cocks. But a Jew doesn't like to penetrate and thrust. He can't assert himself in that way, so he resorts to these perversions. Oral sex is technically a perversion, you know that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why after a woman's been with a Jewish man, she's ruined. She never wants to be with a normal partner again.
So the Jew's a better lover.
No, he's not better. That's not what I said. I said he gives pleasure. That's actually a weakness.
All right, so it's not that the Jew runs the media or that he owns all the banks. It's that they're sexually corrupt.
The Jews clearly control the media and the banks. Investment banks, not the commercial ones. But the point is, they carry out in those realms the exact same principles that they display in sexuality. They undermine traditional life, and they deracinate society. Deracinate. Tear out the roots. Real people.
Okay, so functionally, Ryan Gosling from this fucking movie, the Edward Norton from American History X, and Pisco, they're the same fucking thing. Right? They're the same thing. Really? This is what we're fucking going with? This is what argumentatively we think is fucking happening? Are you it's so on its face stupid. I swear to God, Steven actually gets some kind of sick pleasure out of forwarding poor argumentation within his circle and seeing how far along he can get with poor argumentation. It was the same thing with the fucking Men in Black shit, I swear to God. He knew that the director had said that they were trying to show Jay as thinking outside the box. They said in the commentary, like, oh, you know, we had like the egg-shaped chairs and the tables and all that kind of shit. But he forwarded a poor argument as aggressively as possible to see if I would cave and agree with his argumentation just because he was arguing it forcefully. And I swear to God, it is identical in this situation. Anybody who thinks that Pisco is an anti-Semite, meaning that he wakes up every single day and hates Jews, and that the definition for systemic racism and fucking bigotry are the same, is a fucking idiot. You are dumb. You are fucking dumb as shit. You are being gaslit in real time, and you're not awake enough to realize that somebody is using the emotional and rhetorical cadence of correctness while being obviously fundamentally incorrect and divorced from reality. Okay? So I want you to wake the fuck up. I want you to notice what's actually being said, and I want you to call bullshit. Okay?
To understand it, anti-Semitic, Pisco was a fucking autistic retard. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you give way too much weight to the Mel side.
Oh my God, thank
I
you. You
understand
got
that he's
it.
smart and shit,
Yes.
but I genuinely believe that Pisco has lacks social like skills. I think he
That's
is an
fine.
autistic
Then
fucking
he
idiot.
can be a retarded. Then you created. He can be a retarded anti-Semite. Then that's fine. I'm sure there's room for those people too. But functionally, it's the same thing. I don't you can't just say I excuse when you're in an argument and you have to start making these insane bullet bites. These are the largest bullets I've ever seen bitten. They're like the fucking bazooka monsters in Super Mario World, where he's saying things like, well, if you put up a sign outside of your store that says no blacks allowed, but you just think that the black people are too poor to buy your stuff, I actually don't think that's racist. Do you understand how fucking retarded that sounds? Like when you have
Oh, man. It's almost like if Steven chilled the fuck out and stopped being a bad faith, see you next Tuesday, he could understand what's being said. And I can steelman Pisco, and apparently I'm a dipshit. I'm not. I'm actually quite a smart guy. So, the point is, there can be different motivations, which is funny because Steven literally just used the definition for systemic racism 30 seconds ago. There can be different motivations. So when a cop gives a ticket to disproportionately black folk for not wearing their seatbelts, there's two explanations for that. One of them is that seatbelt usage in the black community is not as high, and therefore he's catching more black folk not wearing their fucking seatbelt. Another explanation is that he wakes up and he's interpersonally bigoted. Okay? And what Steven is saying is that he's that the cop in this metaphor is interpersonally bigoted. So let's go ahead and take a look at black seatbelt usage. What is the rate of black seatbelt usage in America? So, according to the National Highway, blah, 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 occupant protection, the seatbelt usage rate amongst black or African-American front seat occupants was 86.4%. Hold on, that's not. By the way, it's funny that they kind of said front seat usage, but okay. What is the rate of white seatbelt usage in America? It's funny that they said front seat. 91.3%. Okay, so there is a 6% difference, so we can keep going with the analogy. But here's another thing, too, that I want to bring up, because the fact that they said front seat is telling to me, because one of the things, due to socioeconomic conditions, due to working class budgets, sometimes the way that I caught a disproportionate amount of black folk not being properly seatbelted was because they didn't have booster seats or child seats that were required by law. Okay? Now, I'm not a fucking asshole. All right? So I didn't ticket the woman who was rolling around with 5 kids under the age of 10 improperly seated. What I actually did was I got her linked up with a charity that has properly rated child safety seats and booster seats. So I didn't give her a fucking ticket. But at the same time, the point of this conversation is, did I give her a ticket because I hate black people? Because I dislike black women? That I think they're subhuman, abhuman? That I think they're bad? Or was I potentially going to give them a ticket because they were disobeying the fucking law? Which is funny that Steven used the systemic racism in place of interpersonal bigotry. And he's trying to conflate the two for his dog shit argumentation.
You have to contrive things to that level? What am I supposed to think about that?
I do know how retarded that sounds. I call
What is the
Pisco
difference
an
between
autistic.
that?
Sorry, I paused again because I need to point out how fucking stupid this is. What he's saying, and by the way, this applies to like Asian shop owners. Asian shop owners are oftentimes bigoted against black consumers and customers, and they will shoo them out of their store. Is it because they interpersonally hate black people? Or is it because they know that some working class black folk are going to turn off other clientele? And it's rawly financially motivated.
That
Fuckwit.
it's fine. You can call him a fuckwit, whatever you want. That's a
I'll fix the camera, or I'll try.
luxury belief for you. If you're a Jewish person, and now in the U.S. everybody fucking hates you, and you've got people like Pisco who are totally okay with that environment because they're autistic. But by the way, also, wait, I just want to put a pin on this as well because you're also doing this bullshit. He's only ever autistic in one direction. Ever notice that? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? He's only ever autistic in the way that always consistently favors the far left fucking lunatics. Isn't that really weird how that works?
You know what's really fucking funny, Destiny, is I'm the one on Twitter and wherever the fuck Pisco is, calling him out and triggering him because I agree that he's enabling. I call it enabling. I don't have to call him go steps further and put all this malice in him. I can just call him an enabling fucking idiot and say what he is enabling. It is better to just be like, your behavior is enabling this, even if you don't mean to do that. You are. Same with Josiah.
And
You're
I
an
used to
enabling
agree with that.
cunt.
I used to agree with that. And then I stopped and I thought for like 112 seconds. And I was like, in any other form of bigotry, would I not call this person racist? Would I just say, I don't think they're a racist. They just happen to have all of the exact same beliefs as racist, and they happen to enable racism, and they happen to enable structural racism against this group of people, but I don't think they themselves are racist. I don't think I would ever draw this distinction between any other group of people being bigoted ever. I can't even imagine it.
You did. You did. You made arguments 5 years ago that conservatives didn't understand systemic racism and that interpersonal racism and systemic racism are different and that systemic racism can sometimes confuse disparate outcomes for interpersonal bigotry. I know that Steven knows the difference between interpersonal bigotry and systemic racism. He's articulated it thousands of times. So, if he knows the difference between interpersonal bigotry and systemic racism, why is he conflating the two to malign one of his former friends? In my opinion, that 112 seconds that he spent thinking about whether or not he would sweep for the bigotry of anybody else was not spent thinking about the nature of bigotry or definitions or, yes, I'm working on the fucking camera. Oh my God. It wasn't spent thinking about that. It was, what if other people were as Machiavellian as I am? What if people thought about their wordsmithing as much as I do? What if people thought about argumentation and emotional delivery as much as I do? And then as a result, that's why he's coming out with its fucking malice. When realistically, I've known Pisco for 6 fucking years. I know this dude is autistic as shit, and I know that his argumentation oftentimes can be misconstrued for something fucking nefarious, when oftentimes it's just frustratingly pedantic. Okay? Yeah, we need a Connor Wiggler, apparently. I literally unplugged the camera and replugged the camera. I might literally, actually, physically, metaphysically, have to unplug, like I might have to restart the computer. because it's not working. Anyways.
Okay, but now you sound like a lefty fucking idiot. You sound like one of those woke retards who just wants to call everything because of power and prejudice. Oh, let's add it all together because it actually affects you. That's what you fucking sound like.
He's the last SJW.
You are the last SJW, you dumb fuck.
I'll take it. Well, then I'll take it. You know what? That's fine.
Good for Mantis for calling that out. Seriously, like, Mantis pisses me off because I've heard her have dog shit takes in the past and be very aggressive about them. I've also seen her, like, say, oh, I actually like Hassan Piker for this, and this. But actually good on Mantis for pointing out the difference in systemic versus interpersonal bigotry and how Steven's mixing the two like a fucking dipshit. Mantis, applause to you, lady.
Because
Why do you want to sound like that, though, when you can just call him enabling racist and it's just as fucking effective? I can stand around all day saying, Pisco, you're enabling racist with your autism.
He
Stop
doesn't
being
care though about
autistic.
enabling racism. It's fine. Why does he care about calling anti-Semitic then? I'm just a fucking retard anyway, so who fucking cares?
Do you know why people think it's dumb calling somebody an anti-Semite? It's like, you know how you cry about, oh, the lefties.
I'll answer that question for you, Steven. It's because you have 5,000 to 15,000 fucking people who actually listen to you and think that you're smart and think that you debate shit well and that you understand politics. And some of those people are dumb as fuck. Some of those people are truly some of the most abhuman, subhuman, degenerate pieces of shit on the fucking planet, and they outsource their thinking to you. So when you call someone an anti-Semite, when you make no differentiation between an actual bigot and somebody who might be enabling bigotry, you give those stupid people in your fucking audience the moral license to go harass the other person. That's why it fucking matters. Asshole.
Have used the word fascism too much, and the righties have used the word socialism too much, and now nothing fucking means anything. Wank, wank, wank. That dumb conversation that we've been having for so many fucking years on this dumb platform. You're doing the thing. You're adding to that.
I'm not doing the thing. I'm complaining now because I can't use the thing when the thing is actually here. Pisco is more openly anti-Semitic than Fuentes or any neo-Nazi can ever be on a public platform. What are the two key components?
That is such horseshit. That is, please show me any clip. Show me Pisco's worst clip. Please show me Pisco's worst clip. Please show me his worst fucking clip.
Of any neo-Nazi theory, it's that Jews are secretly controlling every fucking thing in society, and it's that they're doing so to the detriment of everybody else. This is like the key fucking, and all of the APAC funding everything. And even the Great Replacement now in fucking Spain is being orchestrated by the Jews. And the Jews are secretly in charge of everything.
But Simo says, no, Destiny's right. Hold on. All right. Can you guys, we're down to 60, okay? And I need to restart from my camera. 1 second. All right, so I'm going to restart from my camera because I actually want my camera on. So there's 58 to 70 of you in here. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Like the stream, share with your friends, engage with chat, super chats if you got them, memberships if you got them. I'm literally going to shut off my computer and shut it back on because otherwise I don't think the camera's going to work.